MTDCNC podcast, sponsored by Langley Alloys, unique metals for demanding applications, providing first-class performance and an international service.
Hello, welcome to another MTDCNC podcast. I am Colin Griffiths, Operations Director and Account Manager for MTD, and one of my favourite clients, should I say that, Geoff, because you're on the recording now, is a PSL Datatrack. So today I'm joined by Geoff and some gentlemen from ADP. So first of all, Geoff Gartland, MD of PSL. Just a quick introduction, sir.
Thank you, Colin. Yeah, so we're suppliers of production control software, specifically for subcontract precision engineers, from quotation through to invoice and all the steps in between.
There you go, nice and simple. So straight on the back of that, everybody will be buying it. Absolutely. No, I am obviously joking about that, but we are joined by one of your clients, the gentleman from ADP Precision. We have Anthony, Peter and Steve in no specific order. So Anthony Ingledew, can you tell me a bit about who you are, what you are, please?
Yeah, we're ADP Precision Engineering based in Newcastle. We're a subcontractor to lots of different sectors. Myself and Peter, the other director, started the business 25 years ago, and we've been going strong ever since.
Excellent. So Anthony, you're the managing director, is that correct?
I am, yes, I'm one of them.
Okay, one of them, and Peter Cornish being the other one.
Hello there, yeah, my name's Peter. Like Anthony says, we started about 25 years ago, and we're progressing and hoping to carry on this good work that we're doing.
Excellent. So, first of all, 25 years young. Congratulations on that, gentlemen. We're also joined by Steve Cross. What's your role in the business, Steve?
Hi, Colin. I'm the quality manager here at ADP, and mainly I sort of liaise with Geoff on our implementation of PSL.
So you're the one who has to do all the hard work in the background while Anthony and Peter take all the plaudits.
That's exactly how it is.
I can say that. I think you've already mentioned it, but those who didn't hear that, you're from up north, aren't you, gentlemen?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, Newcastle upon Tyne. Is that correct?
That's right, just on the outskirts, yeah.
Excellent. Now, just a quick, fantastic machine shop. I know we've done a couple of videos with you guys. This is about PSL Datatrack, but just very briefly, what machines are you running in the machine shop, and what sort of industries and components are you making?
Well, we've got about 23, 24 CNC machines, ranging from turning machines to bar feed machines, so we can run good production runs. We've also got machining centres, and we've now progressed to 5-axis machines. The machines we use are DMG Morris, and we're always trying to look for as much work as we can, and we're always on the lookout for work. But we pride ourselves on the quality and on-time delivery, and that's when PSL certainly comes into the equation, because that can help us with that. Okay,
so essentially, yeah. Fantastic engineer. It sounds like you've got a fantastic machine shop there with some great machines. But you've transitioned and moved into PSL Datatrack. What were you prior to using PSL Datatrack, which we'll cover off in more detail in due course? But what were you doing prior to that, and why did you think you needed to move?
I think that the main focus was to try and streamline and make all the processes more efficient. We had the previous system or systems we're using was very cumbersome, and it was like, we're using Excel, Word, and everybody was having their own sort of little files and things like this. The whole idea of going with PSL was to centralise everything, streamline it, but I think it's also done a lot more than that. It's pushed the business on, from like on-time delivery, all the KPIs we can manage them sort of a lot better. I think it's just streamlined everything, and I think everybody has been so receptive about the whole process of putting it in, and since then it's been absolutely fantastic for the business, to be fair.
Great to hear that, Geoff. Sounds like these gentlemen like PSL somewhat. So, how did you go about implementing it? How have you helped these guys?
Well, in terms of when we first had inquiry, we ran through detailed demonstrations of how the product works, how the data flows, and so on. And that's obviously to give a good impression of how things work. But then the hard work comes with obviously going through the implementation. That all starts with the training. And the training is delivered via Zoom sessions so that you can go through bite-sized chunks, allowing time to practice between sessions, which is crucial because you need to solidify the knowledge that you build. And I think it's really interesting to hear, Anthony, you said about everyone being receptive. I think it's really good to hear that, because one of the things that we really see makes a key difference when a system is implemented is making sure the staff are on board with it, so you don't feel like there's mixed messages, and that's really good to hear. So it's about doing it in bite-sized chunks, and then once ADP were happy and comfortable with how data flows, then we cleared down the data, set numbers, and they went live. And I think that's it, summarised very succinctly.
There you go, nice and simple. But taking a step back, people who don't know PSL Datatrack, essentially you're taking production of components from initial concept, initial quotation, all the way through to essentially final invoicing and all the stages in between.
Yes, and I think what was interesting, obviously quality is key, as we've already mentioned in the podcast, and that all starts with the quote, because you've got to make sure you cover all the aspects you need to. Now, if the quote is right, it delivers the right information, that gives you a major kickstart on making sure the quality continues through the whole process. And in terms of your on-time deliveries, keeping your promises to your customers, making sure that the promises you make at the quote stage are promises you can keep. So the whole thing is linked together.
Absolutely. So I think a few key things, and one positive I think that came out of, I think probably from COVID, is the fact that now training, you identified that yes, it's great to have hands-on training, but it can be done in bite-sized chunks over Zoom. So you could do an hour here, an hour there, and rather than have like 2 days full-on session, which sort of fried my brain, but you could do it an hour at a time and things like that. Is that correct?
That's it, exactly. Yeah, and interesting just to hear, obviously, from ADP's perspective, how they found that, to be honest.
There you go. So I think that's over to Steve, because I think from what you said, you're the one who runs it on a day-to-day basis. How have you found it in terms of implementation, and what benefits have you seen so far?
I think the implementation process was really, I think we found it really easy, to be fair. Like Ant said, everybody bought into it, but the initial implementation itself and the training was manageable. We sort of sat down for an hour or so, worked on one module, went away and had a bit practice, play around on it, got comfortable with it before we then moved on to the next module, and then it obviously all sort of seamlessly linked. And then the support we've had from PSL sort of during the implementation, then since, it's been 2 years or so now since, and the support we've had since has been brilliant. They've catered everything to the way we wanted to sort of see things in the system, customize things to sort of specific reports and status boards, so it basically flows seamlessly through the business now.
There you go, Steve. You're reading all my script here. I won't have any questions left to ask you in the end. I think key to a few things here is, and key to what PSL do is we've just taken on a new system for something completely separate, and you want that onboarding, that training, and you want the access to people, and it's a new system. You might be and I'm sure you weren't, but you can be an absolute pain for the first sort of 2 or 3 weeks while you're trying to get it on board. But once it's on board, you don't need any more support from PSL, but occasionally you'll be there to support them. Is that correct, Geoff?
Well, that's it. You want things to be as smooth as possible. But let's face it, when you first take a system on, there are always going to be more questions in the early days because things are new. And let's face it, no system you put in place gets implemented without disruption. And it's about benefiting from that disruption. Disruption is a good thing because off the back of it, you get change, and change is a good thing if it's the right change. So it has to be managed very carefully.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes, you have not so much yourselves, gentlemen, in terms of Anthony, Peter and Steve, but maybe the guys on the shop floor can be a bit, time-served engineers are like, well, why are we fixing it if it's not broken and I don't want to change and things like that. But it's great to hear they had that buy-in. So the staff on the shop floor, how have they found it? How have they implemented it? How have they used it? Do they like it?
Well, we thought from the start it was going to be one of the main areas of concern where maybe the lads weren't sort of receptive towards it, but it was actually the opposite. They all took it on, embraced it. It was like Steve mentioned it was a very, very easy process for them. I think it makes their job easier and all. Recording the data is just so simple now. You log on, log off jobs. If I'm being honest, I don't think we could have found a better system for the business.
Oh, there you go. That's
something. I was one of as a director, I was like, no, we don't want any change. We'll just stick as we are. And it was Anth who said, no, this could be really good for us. And I've got to admit, I was totally against it because I was like, no, I'll just stick to me. I'm old-fashioned. It was more of, look, I'll stick to me, just writing me quantity, me material, me setting, me labour when I'm doing quotations. Add it up, add a bit of tooling on a bit of paper, put me quote in, and then let's hope for the best.
all the engineers out there are shaking their head at the moment now. But
that was me. And
do you wish you'd done it sooner?
Yeah, well, I wish now that the system's in, I must admit, I couldn't say, it's just fantastic. I couldn't be happier. It's not just the quotations which we can do, but now as a team we can work on. Our secretary's off at the minute. I'm processing orders now. We just can all work together, and it's a system where, like, if Ant's off, I can go on to purchasing orders. But we're just like, it's more of a team effort now. At one time, it would just be, you just do the quotations, you just do the purchasing. But now we can all work together, and I think it's a fantastic system.
Brilliant. And so it sounds like, don't take this the wrong way, it sounds like you're a bit of a Luddite with your pieces of paper and your Excel spreadsheet. It's been easy for you to use the PSL system.
It is, yeah. It's very, very easy to use. And I think it's a bit of training, we might be a bit slower as, the older ones like me, as we're a bit slower, but with a bit of training and, it's fine, it's great. Yeah, it's so quick and easy to learn. So I'd recommend it. I'd recommend it to anyone who's looking for something that will help their business.
Great to hear. So if you were doing quotations, how much, this is probably more Steve, I don't know, but if you're doing a quotation, how much time has it saved you? And so first question. Second question, have you won more business because of that?
Well, I think it's made, it makes quotes a lot more efficient. It means we can get, our price breaks a lot more efficiently and more accurately. And then obviously as it flows through the system and at the end being able to do the cost analysis, it allows us to better and easily reflect on, where we're making money or losing money in some cases, whatever it is, and being able to adjust to suit, whereas in the past that would have been a bit of a bit more challenging to try and go back and look at data through, the various methods we used to have, which was, very paper-based, and now obviously everything's more centralised. So.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to ask this and feel obliged to tell me to go away. Has it helped you identify where you're actually doing your manufacturing components and making losses? So you've had to sort of bite the bullet and say, either we don't do this anymore or we're going to have to raise the price.
It did exactly that, to be fair. One of the things from the outlook, we always knew we had some really good jobs and some, medium-priced jobs, but we also knew there was jobs in the past or historically where we'd been making mistakes. So PSL's been great for that. It's made me look at things, like Steve said, retrospectively. You can set your prices up, and after a few months you can look and think, I just need to tweak that a little bit, or tweak that. And it's kind of helped with not get rid of the bad jobs, but turn them around and make them profitable jobs.
Yeah, I noticed that when we pulled up in the car park, because there's some very posh cars there. I'm joking, of course. Geoff, back to you now. You've got the production control software. You don't have to buy the whole system, and these guys are a great example of that, because we always have this, not debate, but 26 modules. And how have you sort of built this system for the guys at ADP?
I was 26, Colin, now 27 with contract review. The system's modular. So one of the biggest challenges can be thinking about the size of a project when you put a system in. So key to it is identifying what the modules are you really need, and that's where you focus. That should be phase one of your implementation, and that's exactly what took place at ADP. Steve, I think you then opted to add on the quality modules later on, which is great because you get the payback in time, you see the benefits and improvements from the initial implementation, and then you grow at the speed you want to, if you want to.
And then moving on from that, there's a few things I'd like to mention. guys at ADP, traceability, how's it, mate? Has it streamlined that process? Because you aerospace accredited?
We're not aerospace accredited yet, but it's one of the things that we're looking at. Obviously, on the back of PSL, it makes it a lot easier. Being able to run things like traceability reports and being able to just go back and easily sort of look in the system at various, whether it be purchase orders and material certifications, calibration, everything. It makes traceability so much easier. We sailed through our ISO audit last year on the back of it. It's pretty much a bulletproof system in terms of traceability.
Yeah, I've got to emphasise that the traceability, we always had a really good quality system previous to PSL. I think PSL it's made it 100 times better. Traceability is fantastic.
Excellent. These are great statements from you guys here, and I assume Geoff hasn't sort of lined you up with these statements at all, far from it. But another thing you've got, and how has this helped you is, and this ties in with the yes, it's a system you can buy off the shelf. Yes, it's 27 modules now, not 26. You can buy. You don't. I mean, generally, I'd assume you wouldn't want to buy all 27 at one go, but you can build on and build on. But one of the things is, well, two things really is, A, the status boards, and B, customising that. So how has that worked? I'm going to go first of all, push that back to you, Geoff.
So in terms of status boards, it's taking the concept of, if you like, arrival and departure boards from an airport and applying that to a system. So take whatever information you want from the system and display it around the factory, around the stock stores, wherever you want to. Typically, it often gets used as work to lists, which is the case at ADP. But in terms of the information that's displayed on the boards, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. So certainly the process we sat down, went through with ADP what they want to see, and agreed the format, the information, the colouring, and so on. So it really becomes a solution that adds value rather than just a standard thing that sits on the wall.
And I'm assuming all the status boards are all green over ADP. Is that correct?
Every one of them, all the time's green. I think one of the things we've mentioned is, I don't think Geoff shouts about this loud enough, is the status boards have helped with KPIs. Our on-time delivery was about 92% before the status boards. We've got that 97, 98% now on-time delivery. The goods inwards, they were always about 88. We've now got them about 93% on time. So I think the status boards have pushed the KPIs, and this is why we keep on saying PSL does help push the business forward.
That's really great to hear, Anthony. And I'll tell you what, I remember hearing that once or twice in the past when it comes up, and you think, it's great because they're automatic in terms of the displays updating. It does that subliminal thing of just driving you forward, pushing you forward, making you get on to the next thing. But it's so nice to actually hear you've had that kind of improvement.
No, it's a great visual tool, not just for the directors, but also for the guys on the shop floor. It's a visual tool, everybody can see it.
It helps them organise and prioritise their workloads a little bit easier as well, because they can see what work's due out when, but they can also see when materials are due to arrive and plan things around that sort of thing.
So everybody sees that, not just the management system. So that it's been a great tool for getting. It helps everybody feel involved, like they're all pushing in the same direction. And it's been a great tool.
Excellent. And I think some people like to sort of analyse all the data, but other people like to see I'd say it's very simple. You've got the colours and charts and things like that. So you can get a quick snapshot of where you actually are, which makes it a whole lot easier. So next thing is a bit of a leading question for you, and Peter and Steve. Are you going to buy more modules, and what are they?
Well, like Geoff sort of said earlier on, we started with the core modules for the business in terms of quotation, works orders and things like that, and we've since added the quality modules in terms of calibration and the non-conformance modules, things like that. And then we've recently added the assembly and bill of materials module as well. When we first took the system out, we didn't feel that we were doing as many assembly modules, like assembly jobs, as we are now. But since then, we decided to look at it, and again, we've implemented it, and instantly it's made a massive difference to how easy it is to process assembly quotations and works orders, and even the purchasing for assemblies. It ties everything again and makes it so much easier to go back and get the traceability from it, from the job. Because we're muddling through with the small assemblies we had, but then the bigger the assembly, the harder that becomes. So again, we've added more modules, but yeah, we might look at more modules in the past if Geoff's got a bit of a discount.
Colin, what was that? I think line went a bit fuzzy.
No, I missed that as well. I'll get the editors to take that straight out. Anyway. Gentlemen, I'm aware that time is running on. I think you're massive advocates of this system. You really are. I mean, we've had some great comments there. Yes, it's made you more profitable. It's made the business bulletproof. Your traceability is 100 times easier. Your KPIs have massively improved. Anything else you'd like to add in terms of PSL Datatrack and how it's helped your business?
As I mentioned, I think it's helped every aspect of the business, whether it's being more efficient while we're working, whether it's improving, on-time deliveries, traceability. If I'm being honest, we looked at a few systems before we stumbled upon Geoff's, and every one of them was very cumbersome. And when we met Geoff and we had a demo, we just knew straight away that this system was meant for us. I don't think we could find a better system for this business, and I think anybody who's thinking about getting it, I would encourage them to just take a demo of Geoff and the team, and they'll not regret purchasing the system because it's been a great tool for the business.
I don't know how else I can really add to that. That's just a massive sort of compliment to Geoff and the PSL team. Geoff, now you're taking all plaudits. And anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I've got to say thank you very much for all the kind comments. Really appreciate it. And to be honest, I think it takes two sides to actually make things work. Obviously, we can supply the solution, but we need a buy-in from obviously the customer to carry out good implementation. And I think what is really key to that, and I've heard it mentioned a few times in this podcast, I think it's the teamwork. You've alluded to the fact that you're pulling in the same direction, you can cover each other, and that is so key to it. We've seen other situations where you end up with people in pockets, and that doesn't work. You need to all be one big team, and then things become efficient, and you've seen the effect, and it's been really rewarding to see. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to provide the solution and to see the success you've had from it.
There you go, gentlemen. Any final words, or I'm gonna call it a day on that one. I don't think we can do much better.
Yeah, thank you.
So, and Peter, Steve from ADP, and Geoff from PSL, thank you very much for joining myself, Colin at MTD. Hope you enjoyed the show, and I think, in a nutshell, if you want to drive your business forward, I think PSL Datatrack is the way to go. I think that's fair, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gentlemen, on that note, thank you very much, and I'll wish you all goodbye.
Thanks, Colin.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the MTDCNC podcast, sponsored by Langley Alloys, specialists in a wide range of exotic materials for any application for all your engineering needs.